This is 9 News.
Coming up on 9 News at 5, inside Jamestown.
It looked like there were like 4 different Colorado rivers raging through here.
The mayor shows us what's left, and the cleanup in Aurora continues with more help available soon. Plus, who invited winter? Snowfalls at the Eisenhower Tunnel. 9 News at 5 starts now.
For days, Jamestown, Colorado was in survival mode and had to do it with very little help. The flood had cut off access. Today brings our best look, our closest look at where things stand now. 9 News reporter Megan Fitzgerald took a tour with the mayor.
This is the bridge that would take you to Lower Main Street. The creek used to run underneath it. But if you follow me this way, take a look here. This is the new Lower Main Street Bridge, and that creek now looks like a river raging through town.
There were 2 homes here. It's impossible to see where they were.
From the moment you step foot into Jamestown,
kind of surreal.
The devastation is unbelievable.
It's hard to really wrap your mind around what this creek did.
It looked like there were 4 Colorado rivers here.
The creek split in half and took out some of these houses and made a new trail down that way.
Its new trail cuts through yards. It cuts through the middle of homes. It's pulled along with it roads, debris. It even knocked homes completely off its foundation.
This would have been Lower Main Street right here. You can see between the power poles there.
Jamestown Mayor Tara Schettinger toured Senator Michael Bennet around town, giving him a look at just how devastated the town really is, showing him what neighbors have returned home to.
We were holed up in the barn next door until about 4:30 on Thursday morning.
This man's house was filled with feet of mud, covering every inch and every corner of his floor. But as bad as the devastation is, folks here have a sad reminder of just how lucky they really are, because Joey Howlett didn't make it that day when the flood tore through Jamestown.
That dude was like the ambassador to Jamestown.
And we're going to need lots of help rebuilding our community, but we will.
You're never too old to start over, and I truly believe that.
We will rise. I can't say the ashes, it's more like from the floodwaters, but we're going to come back.
The mayor of Jamestown says she is working as quickly as possible to secure funding to rebuild the infrastructure here, like roads that cut through town, so people can get back and start the process of rebuilding their lives. Anyone who's interested in donating to Jamestown, the mayor says you can go to rebuildjamestown.org. That website will be live on Monday. Reporting in Jamestown, Megan Fitzgerald, 9 News.
We have shared so many stories of the flood response restoring people's faith. Well, how about faiths? That's what we found inside the Islamic Center of Boulder, where 4 feet of water soaked the basement. The volunteers working nonstop to clean it up are from both the Islamic Center as well as the Jewish Federation of Colorado. 80 volunteers have been working since yesterday.
The severe damage, of course, extends all the way south into Arapahoe County. Dumpsters full of personal belongings that had to be hauled out of people's homes line some streets in that community. As 9 News reporter John Schierick heard today, they'll be grateful for federal help, but the folks in Aurora are not waiting for it.
It's just been sad. Aurora's silent heartache, as if every memory of every family of the flood, every tear must be tossed, best forgotten, and hauled away.
Everyone's been pitching in. We've been trying to help each other.
Mike Miller lives on Tucson Street, where construction dumpsters full of debris in front of almost every home tell of severe damage inside.
The people in the north are far worse off than we are. We still have our home, and it looks fine from the outside, but we sustained some damage, and it's not going to be easy to get over.
It was as if,
at least up to there,
their homes were suddenly on top of geysers, water coming up from underground, raw sewage from the city mains backing up into their basement 2 and 3 feet deep.
See, this is how moist all this is. It just comes off. Oh, that's mold.
Jack Okendo and his neighbors are hearing from the city of Aurora that the city will not assume liability for the backed-up city sewer lines. FEMA representatives, though, are going door-to-door assessing damage and deciding who might qualify for federal assistance. It will be welcome. All the repairs now are out of pocket. No one has flood insurance. They've never had a flood until now. Dumpsters, for example, that might cost $100 per load are now $300 because of demand. And every homeowner fills up the dumpsters multiple times. So no one's waiting for help that may or may not come. They're hard at work now. and helping each other.
It just shows that people really care. When you need something, people are there.
Their tears, like all the damage here, hidden on the inside, best tossed away, forgotten. Clear but sad eyes, looking ahead. In Aurora, John Schierick, 9 News.
The city of Aurora is planning to set up an office for FEMA within the next week or two, so residents and business owners there will have a central place to go for help.
We learned within the last half hour that Vice President Joe Biden's trip to Colorado tomorrow will take him to Greeley. Previously, it was only announced that he would be somewhere in Colorado touring flood damage and recovery efforts. He'll be joined in Greeley by Governor Hickenlooper and FEMA Director Craig Fugate. For some, the hardest part of flood evacuations, they told us, was having to separate from their pets, their animals.
Absolutely. 9 News reporter Nick McGurk was in Boulder today for some long-awaited reunions.
I'm in a shelter set up by the Red Cross here in Boulder at the YMCA. More than 100 people spent the night here last night. You can only imagine what they are going through, being away from their homes. Many are actually away from their pets.
We need that bonding. We need that family cohesiveness.
We meet David Doherty, an evacuee outside the shelter. He and his wife are loving the help they're getting from YMCA and Red Cross. There's a stipulation they can't keep their pets at the Y. So a group has volunteered to drive those displaced by flooding to the Boulder Humane Society. It's there Doherty and his wife get to reunite.
Oh, she's excited. She is.
In a very loving way with their 2 Chihuahuas.
It's excellent. It's just like coming home. Right, Gogo? Yeah? He's a good boy. He's good. He's happy. He's very happy. And Chi-Chi? Oh, she can't stop kissing. Oh, you're so sweet.
Can Coco give Mama a kiss?
Oh, yes.
Kiss Mama?
For many of these families, this was the second or third time they've been able to see their pets, so very neat to see that. The Red Cross says in situations like this, coordination doesn't always happen. Folks don't always get to go and see their pets on a continual basis, so it is neat to see that happening here in Boulder. Nick McGurk, 9 News.
Well, look at you, winter. Oh. Being all wintry and stuff. Snowfall at the Eisenhower Tunnel today. And on the Front Range, more rain. How about that?
That's a shock to the system for some people. Yeah. Amelia Earhart joins us this evening. Amelia, a little bit of snow, a lot of rain in some places.
Exactly right. Yeah, what a change we're seeing out to the west. We've seen that snow up at the divide turn from hail into rain, back to snow again. And right now we are seeing rainfall come down. That real low cloud deck settled in up and over the Eisenhower-Johnson Tunnel. Storms, they have been churning over the past several hours here in our mountain communities. We're taking a closer look into Denver as the rain hasn't quite arrived yet. A few light sprinkles over Arvada, but we start to see that development closer towards the 6 o'clock mark. Unfortunately, our areas most affected by the floods still have rain coming down. Estes Park, Allens Park, Lyons, and Boulder seeing those showers, about 1/10 of an inch expected over the next 24 hours. And we've got a severe round of storms transitioning between Cripple Creek and Canyon City, most likely breaking apart by the time they reach Fountain. The southern and western portion of our state across the San Juan seeing that snow come down near Telluride, and really across the board we have seen a tough go over the last several hours. Severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect for the areas shaded in light blue until 7 p.m. That does include our burn scar near Colorado Springs, and on top of that, a flash flood watch stays in effect through 9 p.m. this evening. We're talking about snow moving down to about 9,500 feet tonight. We'll have the full forecast coming up and when the dryouts in store, and hey, we'll also have that Broncos forecast for tomorrow night.
Oh, just a few people curious about that.
Just a few.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amelia. New policies could be coming to the Adams 12 school district. This comes after school bus driver Burton Carpenter was arrested for DUI. He was driving 37 students and 4 adults from Mountain Range High School in Westminster on Saturday. The district says the current policy requires bus drivers to check in with a supervisor before they get behind the wheel. The problem is supervisors only work during weekdays. This meet was on a Saturday, so there was no supervisor on duty. The district says it will look at all the information from this incident and decide what it needs to do to ensure everyone's safety in the future. Kenya's military says most of the hostages who had been held in an upscale shopping mall in Nairobi have been rescued. The al-Qaeda-linked Somalia militant group Al-Shabaab says it is responsible. Gunmen stormed the mall from 2 sides, threw grenades, and fired on people, including children inside. At least 68 people have died, 175 are injured. CNN is reporting that 3 of the alleged attackers are from the United States, 2 from Somalia. The other gunmen included on the al-Shabaab list were from Canada, Finland, Kenya, and the United Kingdom.
78 people in Pakistan are dead after 2 suicide bombers blew themselves up inside a crowded historic church. More than 140 people were wounded. A branch of the Pakistani Taliban has claimed responsibility.
President Obama joins thousands of mourners at a memorial for those killed in Monday's Washington Navy Yard shooting. Ahead.
And I'll tell you this, I have anchored hours of our coverage of the Colorado floods, and I did not truly understand what happened until I saw the thoughtful story that you are about to see next.